Right, but she had £20,000 in savings. And the problem was, we asked her only for 5, she come up with 20. And we said, okay, how are we going to keep the £20,000 without using it towards paying down the existing mortgage? Right, click. Because she paid us such a big deposit, our cash flow shrink down to £40 a month. The problem was, we was minus £6,000. She was owing us less money than what we owed to the bank. So we put a condition in our contract. You can't you can't go and get a mortgage and complete this transaction within 7 years without paying a redemption penalty. Like a bank, we put a redemption penalty on the contract. If you go and get a mortgage and pay us off early, it's going to cost you £6,000. Guess what? After 8 months, she divorced her husband, got all the money, and she decided, she said, I'm ready to complete. I want to transfer the title over. So, Tina, do you remember that we put a £6,000 clause in the contract? She said, yes, I'm happy to pay. So, wow, Christmas came too early. So, we completed the contract and we profited £19,400 in 8 months. How many of you would like that?
So how much did we pay for this?
Nothing.
How many tenants did we put in there?
0.
How much did we spend on maintenance, repairs, service charge, ground rent?
I spent a little bit of time and money on the yellow signs.
0 cost, 19,400 in 8 months. Let's have a look at another babysit. Said we'd repeat these. So this was another property owned by a gentleman called Bob. This property actually is in Kent, where close to our offices. Bob is a taxi driver and he's hurt his foot so he can't work, and he's got into arrears with his lender, GE Money. We was talking to him on Wednesday, and on Thursday next week the bailiffs were coming in to repossess him for £1,800 arrears. Crazy. So he was already packing his boxes and he was ready to move into his sister's house where he was going to go and live. He was happy to do that. He sort of accepted that he was going to lose the property. So we said to him, Bob, how would it make you feel if we could pay the arrears for you and stop the repossession? We'll allow you some more time to stay in the property, to pack your boxes, to sell your furniture, and then you can move into your sister's house when you're ready. In the meantime, we'll babysit your property, we'll babysit your mortgage payments for you, and we'll pay off GE Money. We get rid of them. Well, he was happy with that. He couldn't wait to give us the keys. So we've now controlled the property using a single document, and now we've decided to sell it on an instalment contract. So Mesud, give us the numbers.
Here is a secret. This time I didn't put yellow signs on, okay? We had a Rightmove account. We had it for the last 4 years, okay? 4 years ago, we acquired this Rightmove account, and we agreed with Rightmove that we can list under the deposit amount. When you go on Rightmove and you're searching for a property in your area, and you are a first-time buyer, do you click lowest price first or highest price first? Thank you. So always click lowest price first. Right. We got agreement to list under deposit amount with Rightmove. So when they click lowest price first, whose property comes up first? It's like being on top of Google, isn't it? Every time somebody's searching for a property in your area, we're number 1. Do you think we get more calls than normal estate agents that are selling for full price? I'll just give you an example. This property, I tried it for 1 day. I tried it for 1 day and I put it online under the full market price. I got about 150 clicks. Then next day I put it under the deposit amount. I got 120,000 clicks. Can you see this? That's how powerful it is. Right. Do you think if somebody clicks if 120,000 people click, you're going to get some calls? Well, we got a call and we had a viewing in the afternoon. After we put it in the morning, in the afternoon, had a viewing. Doug is doing a viewing here in his lovely shorts. Doug, what happened in the viewing? How did you sell the house? What did you do?
Well, we got this lovely couple down from, was it in Dagenham?
Dagenham.
Dagenham, lovely couple come down with their 2 children, two young boys, one about this big and one about this big. And we were stood outside the house. Bob was in the house, he was going to do the viewings with us. And I said to the youngest of the 2 boys, I said, you better run inside the house and pick your bedroom. There's 3 bedrooms in there. Pick your bedroom before your older brother gets in there. So he runs inside, and when we got in there, the youngest boy was in the smallest bedroom. And by the time we got upstairs, I went into the small bedroom where he was, and there was a bed in there. It's a nice single bed with a nice duvet on there. And he was so excited about this bed being there, he couldn't believe there was a bed in the room. So quite clearly, I think he hadn't been sleeping on a bed. And he was really excited. He said, "There's a bed, there's a bed." I said, "Well, if you go and ask Bob, I think he might leave it behind for you because he's probably got no use for it anymore because he's moving in with his sister." So he ran into the other room where Bob was with, his parents with Bob, and he pulled on his coat and he said, "Bob, can you leave the bed behind?" And Bob said, "Of course, you can have it." And that's basically what sold the house, because the young boy was going to sleep in a bed. First time ever. So it was that easy. First viewing, first sale.
£7,000 up front we took from the parents. They didn't have any more decision power. The kids bought the house. So we are making £250 net cash flow after we repay G money and after we repay the arrears. £15,000 over a 5-year period. Why 5 years? That's on average how long it takes a buyer to go and get a mortgage from the bank. That's why we always use 5-year term. Okay?
We use the 5 years on an average to calculate the profits, so we expect it to be 5 years. But it isn't always. Sometimes it's sooner, sometimes it's longer. But we average 3 to 5 years.
Right. Because we babysit the property, it was quite significantly below market value. I think it was worth about 145. We sold it about 157 and had a mortgage of £122,000, I think. So, right, the back-end profit is the difference between how much the buyer owes us on completion date and how much we owe the bank, the underlying mortgage. That's the back-end profit. So, our back-end profit on this deal is £20,000 if they were to complete in year 5. How much money we made, Doug?
42,000.
42,000. How many of you would like to make £42,000 from this property?
How much did we pay for this?
We paid only £1,800 towards the arrears.
We got that back from the 7.
Yes.
And how many tenants did we move in?
No tenants whatsoever.
How
We
much
sold
did
it in one afternoon.
Did we spend any money on repairs?
Not at all.
Any renewals, any carpets, any painting?
No.
Didn't even have to cut the grass. Somebody else cut the grass for us actually. It was the neighbour, I think.
No, there's still a bit more in front
A
of
bit
the
more
house.
in front of the house.
So what do they call themselves? If they're not tenant buyers, do they call themselves owners?
Yeah, we move a buyer into the property.
Move a buyer
And
in.
if we can take questions and answers at the end, we make it very clear for you. Hopefully we'll answer every question as we go. But we do move a buyer in because they exchange contracts, so there must be a completion. That's why it's very different to an option. So let's have a look at another baby set. This was another Bob, funny enough, in Dartford. And Bob was a reluctant landlord. He owned this property, had a tenant in there, been trying to sell it for 9 months, and he was determined to get the full asking price. He had £15,000 tied up in this property, £15,000 in equity. And he was only being offered silly prices by proposed buyers. So we said to him, "Bob, if we could give you the £15,000 that you've got tied up in this property, will you allow some flexibility around the timescale which we deliver you the money? Providing you get the 15,000, can we take some time to deliver it?" He said, "I don't need the money straight away. As long as I get that 15,000, you can have it." And again, he couldn't wait to give us the keys. So we controlled the property, we babysit the property, we babysit the mortgage payments. So because we're babysitting the mortgage payments, we don't need to go and get a mortgage. So now we control the property again. We sold it on an instalment contract. You moved some people in from a long way off.
Oh, all the way from Lewisham. Those people were renting a one-bedroom flat. Boyfriend and girlfriend planning to get married and establish a family. Obviously, they wanted a bigger property. But the
This man was a
magic,
trainee surgeon, I think, wasn't
yeah, trainee surgeon and a head nurse, I think. So they were both in the medical industry. So the wife was, the potential wife was earning good money, and the husband was still studying at university. So no way for them to get a mortgage yet. But they had about £11,000 in savings, so we saw the opportunity here. Okay, £5,000 mortgage, no mortgage required. We'd like to own a 2-bedroom house with the same amount of monthly payment will cost it to rent a 1-bedroom flat in Lewisham. They loved it. They just loved it. The problem was the property wasn't in great condition. We could have taken £11,000 deposit from them, but we only took 5. You know why? Because we allowed them to spend the money on changing the carpet, paint on the walls, probably change the kitchen. But they love that. Where else you can buy a house with £5,000 deposit? So, we move them in, £5,000. The beauty thing here is, okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you understand this, you're going to make lots of money. The money is not in the price, it's in the terms of purchase. If you get favourable terms of purchase, you're going to make way more money than buying it discounted. We agreed to pay Bob the full market value, but the terms were, Bob, you're going to get the full market value in your equity when our buyers cash out. So basically, his equity, we got it interest free for as long as we like. Here was the power. Also, he had a very, very cheap underlying mortgage. His mortgage was 2.25%. Bear in mind, we can sell quite above the market rent. So that's why we're making £480 net cash flow. So there is the money. £5,000 upfront, £480 cash flow, and we sold it about 20% above the market value. So, back-end profit, £37,000. But remember, we promised Bob £15,000, so our net back-end profit is £22,000.
How much you made out of this?
55,800. How many of you would like to make £55,000 and pay full price?
How much did we pay for this up front?
Nothing?
Any tenants in there?
No tenants.
Maintenance, repairs?
They did the job. We didn't have to do anything.
So we're recording this, and if anybody would like a free recording, could you please put your details on this paperwork that's going to be handed out to you now as we speak. We'll send that to you, completely free of charge.
So watch it as many times you like, remember the talk, and just listen again. What this Bulgarian guy said, I couldn't understand him.
Does anybody know what a lemon is? Anybody? Joe, what's a lemon? It's a citrus fruit. Well, actually, Mesud, what is a lemon?
Lemon is a property that you don't want to own. I explained to a few of the attendees here, no point owning 30 properties if they're not making you any money. Okay? We pride ourselves of how many deals have you done this year, etc. If you're not making money, no point owning properties. Negative, a lemon is a property that is in negative equity or in negative cash flow, or it's about to be negative cash flow. Right, so
Show us what a negative equity
if we have a
looks like.
situation like that, where the house value is £100,000, but the mortgage outstanding is £110,000. Why is that? Because, have you heard about the credit crunch? I think the prices dropped about 10-20%, didn't they? Because they dropped, they created lots of negative equity houses. In fact, 4 million of UK's, about 25 million properties are either in negative or no equity situation. Right, here's the opportunity. £100,000, mortgage 110. If we had to sell this, it would cost us £10,000. £10,000. So, if this property is in negative equity and negative cash flow, is there any point owning this property? Is there any point of keeping this property with the hope that one day prices will come back? Well, you will have spent more money on subsidising it than you will ever make in capital growth. So how do we get rid of these lemons?
Show us the negative cash flow.
Negative cash flow looks a little bit like that. Let's imagine this property rents for £525. But the cost, the monthly cost is £645. It could be the mortgage payments plus service charge plus ground rent. So it costs you £120 every month. Now we're going to give you an example where Doug owned a property with exactly this scenario.
How would this make you feel if you had one of these? You go out for a steak meal and you end up with one of them. What do you do with that? My God. I thought I was going to have a steak and now I've got a lemon. What do I do with it? Well, it drains your pockets for a start. And I have a few of these. I don't mind sitting it. I bought a lot of properties in the mid-2000s. A lot of them were off-plan. A lot of them were in city centres or on some sort of bay or riverfront. Greedy developers were charging over the odds for these properties, but were offering great deals. So a lot of investors have ended up with lemons. Similar to this one in Manchester, which I own. It's on a canal in city centre Manchester. It's in a nice location. It was such a good deal, I bought 2 of them. Of course, I never go to see it. It was off plan. The developer gave me £12,000 cash back on each one. So I've got 2 properties, £24,000 in the bank. I didn't even need to find a tenant. But you know, there was thousands and thousands of other investors doing exactly the same thing. So now I've got a property that's in negative equity. Negative equity figures on this.
1-bedroom flat in Manchester city centre. Right, when I looked at the file, I had a look, 138,500 on the mortgage. Northern Rock Asset Management. So, okay, good. I'm going to put the postcode on Rightmove and look for comparable. When I clicked on Rightmove, there was only 1-bedroom flat for sale in the same block, pretty much the same side of the building, £99,000. How much negative equity is that? 38,000, 138 minus 99, about £40,000 in negative equity, and that flat wasn't sold. I said, Doug, we have to get rid of this. How much does that cost you every month? When I put the numbers, 525 rent, 645 mortgage and service charge and ground rent, so it was about £120 in negative cash flow.
Do you know how I was feeling at that moment? Like I've been served a lemon. And I've got a few of these, so I'm thinking...
Do you still have the £24,000 though?
I used that to subsidise the mortgage payments.
Well done.
Over the years.
Excellent investment. Is that property investing?
No, I wasn't the only one.
Huh?
There are other people as well.
Okay,
There
let's
still are lots of people out there. There might be some here tonight.
Right, let's sort that mess out. Right, I said, Doug, we know what we're going to put it on Rightmove. We're going to put it on Rightmove, and I'm going to put it £5,000 mortgage, no mortgage required, total purchase price £143,999. Doug said, no one will buy at that price. No way you can sell this. I said, Doug, there are lots of people in the country that want to live in a nice 1-bedroom flat who can't afford to get a mortgage and have £5,000 to move in. So I found the buyer. Found the buyer actually within a couple of weeks. It took us longer than a normal sale, but we found the buyer. The buyer viewed the property. We didn't travel to Manchester with the tenant.